the black cloud that started everything. It was a black cloud at the time, but looking back, honestly, it feels more like a rain cloud that watered all of this so it could grow into what it is. I mean, at least that's one way of looking at it. Back around 2015, 2016, my life looked completely different. I just recently got married, just bought this house, and my daughter Memphis was about a year old. So I also had my yellow Terminator, AKA Yellow Wolf, along with a 05 ZX10R drag bike. It was a street bike, but I basically only used it for drag racing. So I'd raced the bike for a while, but that whole chapter in my life had kind of started to run its course, and I wanted something else. What I really wanted was a FoxBody again. The last FoxBody I had, I gave to my son Andrew, and the drag bike was just kind of sitting there, so I thought to myself, what if I can find someone to trade a FoxBody for a drag bike? I was on Facebook Marketplace, I was on Craigslist, looking at all the ads, zooming in, you know, checking these cars out, and it seemed like everything either had rust or it was too far away or the deal just would fall through. And then I found a guy in North Alabama who was willing to trade his FoxBody Mustang for a drag bike. I remember telling my wife, this is it, this is the one. She was super supportive, but cautiously optimistic, we'll say. I thought, man, there's just no way this is gonna work out. There's no way I'm basically gonna be able to get rid of a drag bike that I never used for a FoxBody that I really, really want again. My stepdad actually picked the bike up the day before, took it to his house. So that morning, all we had to do was wake up, go over to my mom's house, all of us load up. It was me, Andrew, my stepdad, Joe Nate. We're all in his big dually. We got the bike loaded up and we're headed 4 hours north to go get this FoxBody. I ain't gonna lie to you. I felt pretty nervous. It didn't seem real. It just didn't seem like something felt off is how I would explain it. But we were excited nonetheless, listening to good music, talking about the car, you know, hope that it looks as good in real life as it does in the pictures and what we're gonna do to it, and just crossing our fingers that everything's gonna go smooth. Well, about 4.5 hours later, we meet the guy at a gas station. He looks at the bike, says everything's cool, he likes it. I'm like, hell yeah, man, this might actually happen. But we had to follow him to his house to go look at the Mustang. Pull up to his house, and he's got a few family members there at the house with him, you know. And I look at the car, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. It needed some wheels, it needed to be lowered, some tint on the windows, like things like that. But you could tell it's a really straight car. So I'm excited, he's excited, we both agree, we lay the paperwork out. But before we put pen to paper, I said, hold up just a second. I said, why don't you go ride the bike? Let's make sure this is really what you want. He was like, okay, yeah, I'll ride the bike. I felt good about it. He hops on the bike, he takes off. A few minutes pass, a few more minutes pass. A lot of minutes pass by and we're starting to kind of be like, you know, this seems a little odd. I'm like, I hope everything's good. We're listening, we're trying to hear if we can hear the bike anywhere. Nothing, dead silence. Looking back, his grandfather's over there working in the garden. He's not concerned, so I'm like, well, okay, maybe he just took it for a longer trip. Well, a truck pulls up. In the bed of the truck was the guy holding his arm. He says, man, it wasn't my fault. He pulled out in front of me. No way this is happening. We jump in the truck, they take us up there to the scene. There's cops there, the bike is laid over in some dude's yard. I'm now getting questioned by the cops. They want to know why there's no tag, why there's no insurance on the bike. I didn't have any answers. I basically told them I was trying to sell the bike, we were going to do a trade. Well, little did I know, everybody kind of knew everybody in that area, and I was the outsider, let's just say. So at this point, it reminded me just how quickly a good decision can turn into a terrifying decision. So now I'm sitting here with a guy that's broken his arm and don't know how bad he's actually hurt. You know, he's all hyped up at the moment, the adrenaline's rushing. Maybe he's hurt worse, we don't know. I got a mangled bike. We have no plan, no deal, no pen to paper. And as I'm talking to the cops, I'm realizing, damn, like they're talking lawsuit. They're talking about possibly me going to jail. I'm in some town I don't even know. Well, about that time, I realize the ambulance is leaving. Well, he's in the ambulance and I'm sitting here, don't know what to do. So we talked for a few more minutes with the cops and they basically agreed to just squash it. But then I'm sitting there realizing he's gone. Where's he at? So I started asking people like, hey, where did they take him? So they took him to the local hospital and they gave me the name of it. So we searched it up, Googled it, and we head out. We go to the hospital. I go to the emergency room, give them his name, and they let me in. And this is where I really started to feel like a piece of crap. You know, am I doing the right thing here? Should I let this go? I didn't know what to do. So I find his room and I walk up there and I said, hey man, look, you know, I'm sorry, but we had a deal. You know, were you gonna honor the deal? And I didn't really get a straight answer at the moment. I mean, I kind of understand that, you know, the guy sitting there with a broke arm and his girlfriend's there and there's a lot going on, you know. But I'm also over 4 hours away from my house with a broken bike and no deal. So I told him, look, I'll wait outside and when you're ready, we'll talk. Hours go by in a hot parking lot sitting outside of a hospital. I don't know if he's gone. I don't know if he snuck out the back door. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know if this is gonna happen. I have no plan. We're lost. Finally, he calls me and he says, hey, can I ask you a favor? I said, yeah, what you got? He said, can you give me a ride home? I said, yeah, sure. So his girlfriend and all of us, we load up into the truck, into the dually. We are crammed in there like sardines. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this might still happen because we now have to take him back to his house where the car is. Hopefully this works out, but I'm nervous. I'm super nervous. Well, we pull up to his house. There's like 20 people at his house and it's like the whole neighborhood's there, you know? And I'm like, oh, this is not gonna be good. I don't really have a leg to stand on. We didn't sign anything. We just had a verbal agreement. I'm worried. I'm not gonna be the villain. I'm not gonna push the issue. I wanna do the right thing. I want him to honor it and that be that. After about an hour or so of talking, we came to the agreement that we would both honor this decision. We signed the titles over to each other. I unloaded the bike. Pretty rough looking, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I got in the Mustang and we left. Nervous as I could possibly be. So it was a very, very intense situation. Drive home, I'm nervous, I'm excited. I'm thinking, wow, this actually worked. But I'm really scared that any moment I'm gonna get a phone call from him saying, hey, look man, no, bring the car back. This is a bad deal, you did me wrong. I was just nervous. Well, we got home, everything was fine. I'm still a nervous wreck for weeks into months. I thought every time my phone rang, I just knew it was gonna be him. Look, I didn't wanna be the bad guy. I don't know if I did the right thing or the wrong thing. I don't know. Maybe I should have just left with my bike in the back of the truck and called it a loss, a wash. But I felt like the thing to do was to honor the agreement, and that's what happened, but it took a long time for me to be able to be okay with it. Finally, the tension eased off a little bit. We did talk on the phone a few times and he was okay with it. I think he actually got the bike up and running again, put some new pieces and parts on it, so I was happy at that point. I now have the car free and clear, it's mine. My conscience is clear at this point, so I start wet sanding, buffing the car, re-dyeing interior, bought a set of wheels, put on it, lowered it, cut the springs. I fell in love with this thing. It was the ultimate stock cruiser. My mom also fell in love with this car to the point that she wanted to buy it and was gonna buy it. There at the last minute, I think she just kind of changed her mind and I ended up keeping the car for a good bit longer. Now I got another itch. I love this car, it's great, but it's stock and it just like I didn't know where to go with it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to really modify it, so I was at a crossroads. So I look over at Yellow Wolf, my Terminator. I'm like, man, a big old Kenny Bell or a Whipple will be great for this car. So when I got my bonus at work, I told the wife, I was like, hey, let me use this bonus to go buy a supercharger for this car. And if I need to, I'll sell the black car. not thinking she would hold me accountable. She was like, you know, whatever. So I got it with my buddy Ben. He hooks me up with a guy. We drive over to Georgia and we go pick this supercharger up, bring it home, install it on the car. And there was a lot more money involved in it than just the supercharger. I didn't realize there was other parts that were needed, and I had a lot more money in it. Well, my wife's looking at me. She's like, hey, you said you would sell this car. You've put way more money into the supercharger than what we originally thought. You need to sell the car. She held my feet to the fire, guys. She held me accountable. And this was the first time that she had ever put her foot down. No, you said you would do it. I expect you to do it. Look, she did the right thing. So it was time to sell the car. I sold the car for $6,500, y'all. Super, super clean LX. Well, sold it to someone local. He absolutely loved the car. He took very good care of it. And he also come by a couple times on the channel. So the footage you've been seeing is of him bringing the car back for me to look at, and there was a couple of things I tweaked on it. And then eventually he sold it to another member of the channel, and he is still currently an active member of our community. So the car really never left. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So that's actually when I started my YouTube channel after I bought the supercharger and put it on Yellow Wolf. So that's how the black car ended up not being a black cloud, but more a rain cloud. And it helped water all of this so that it can grow into what it is. I mean, think about that. Something that just made me feel so horrible to look back on and think about was actually a good thing. It all worked out in the end. That's the story of Sir Mix-a-Lot. There's obviously so much more that can be told about it, but it's one of those stories that needed to be told because it's something I've been kind of keeping inside. I didn't really want to share that story with people because sometimes I question whether I did the right thing or not. I don't know. You guys decide. What would you have done in that situation? That can lead over into part 2, which would be the Retro Fox, if you guys want to know about that, because that car is the one that we credit to actually starting the channel. So Sir Mix-a-Lot was kind of a precursor into the Retro Fox. If you want me to do more story time, let me know. We can always do that. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. And as always, thanks for watching.